Ken Trahan with Lenny Van Gilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. The Denver Broncos are world champions for the third time. They win Super Bowl 50, 24-10 over Carolina. It was all about their defense. Peyton Manning will get accolades as well he should, and we couldn't be happier for him as he's a two-time Super Bowl champion with two different teams and the oldest quarterback to ever win one. This is a tremendous accomplishment for him. But Lenny, this was all about a team effort, in particular the defensive part of that team, which was brilliant for Denver.
Well, trust me, if I could make these kind of predictions, I might still be working at places that allow you to do such things and make money off of them. But that said, defense won the day, and Peyton Manning will get his second Super Bowl title, as you mentioned, but this was all about defense. Peyton was a game manager. 6-point lead, 7 minutes left, it's 3rd and 9, and he checks to a running play. We would never see those things happen with Peyton Manning in his prime. And if this indeed was his last game, Ken, he gets a chance to ride off into the sunset the way he should. And, you can have the discussion of where he ranks among the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. I think with multiple Super Bowl titles and all of the regular season numbers he puts up, you might have to put him right at the top of the list.
Oh, I think he's top three. In my book, he's clearly one of the top three that have ever played. My top three would be Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning. In no particular order, I think all three certainly are deserving of being there. I'd probably argue for Montana or Brady or Montana, with Manning right there. But those are my top three. And listen, there are a lot of great ones, but certainly this is a guy that deserves the credit based upon what he's accomplished. Winning postseason record now, so all of that criticism, he chokes, he can't win in the postseason, forget about it.
The fact is, he got teams to the postseason. You think about if you don't get to the Super Bowl and you're a top 2 seed, you're going to go 1-1. You're going to be 500 at best. Sure, maybe you lost some games the first game that you played in the playoffs, but the reason he lost 13 playoff games is because he got his team to the playoffs 15 times. He won 2 Super Bowls and lost 13 times. So that tells me something, that in the span of an 18-year NFL career, really you could throw out one season in there because he didn't play. So 17 years, he got his team to the playoff 15 times.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, congratulations to the Broncos. Very deserving. And to Peyton Manning, kudos. And now, Lenny, the talk will turn to whether or not this was his last game or not. I think it was, but I don't think he wanted to upstage anybody, and that's as it should be. That should have been all about Denver winning the Super Bowl, not about his future, and he made it that way.
It would have been real easy for him to say, this is it, I'm done, and he chose not to do that, and I think that was the right thing. It would be good. Take a while. Turns 40 in 6 weeks. Maybe on your 40th birthday, say, you know what, happy birthday to me. I'm retired. Thank you very much, NFL. I'll see you in Canton in 5 years. I'll see you in Natchitoches in 3 years. See you in the Greater New Orleans Hall of Fame. See you in all the other Hall of Fames that he will make. That'll be the next time you see me, in a suit and doing those kind of things.
Unlike Marshawn Lynch, who decided that he would time his retirement of sorts to the Super Bowl, which is ridiculous and selfish in my book, but that's another story.
I agree.
All right. So we turn to basketball and the New Orleans Pelicans, and nothing good happening there. You want to move on?
Well, I guess we have to touch on it at least, but this is a team that is now 7 out with 32 games to play in the West. And I honestly, I had hopes for playoffs. We're hovering 3-4 games out, and then this 4-game stretch this week. While you have to consider the fact it was tough, you had to go to Cleveland, you had to go to San Antonio, but to lose to the Lakers with 11 wins at home, that's not going to get it done. And now you've got a 3-game stretch heading into the All-Star break, starting tonight in Minnesota, come home to play Utah on Wednesday, then finish the stretch at OKC on Thursday. I don't see him. Obviously, Utah is the team sitting in the 8th spot. That would be one way to get a game closer, but I just can't see this playing out in any situation where the Pelicans are going to get themselves back into what you would call real contention.
Agreed completely. Inconsistent from the get-go. Injuries have been an issue. Can't look for excuses. And they just haven't shown any ability to put anything together for any sustained period of time.
No, you had that 5 out of 6 stretch at home, and it would have been nice to get the game against Memphis, that last game of the homestand. Didn't get that. You can't expect to win at San Antonio. But again, that Memphis win might have been able to propel you into some things, and simply not the case. And now, like I said, you find yourself 7 back, 32 to go. Are we going to see any kind of changes at the All-Star break? Trade deadline is coming up. I don't know.
Meanwhile, in college basketball, LSU now leads the SEC. Who would have thought that? Ahead of Texas A&M, who beat them already, ahead of Kentucky, ahead of Florida, ahead of all the good teams in the league, South Carolina. But they've got a couple of those teams coming up in South Carolina and Texas A&M.
Yeah, LSU goes to South Carolina Wednesday night. A&M for a noon game on Saturday at the PMAC, which should be a really, really big and a really good game in this league. Give LSU credit. It would have been real easy for them to kind of, hit the skids a little bit after that effort against Oklahoma that didn't come up with a win. And here they go coming up with 2 wins. You're supposed to get. The pack kind of came back to them a little bit. South Carolina, give them kudos, going on the road and winning at A&M, a top 10 team who had not lost at home the entire year.
The New Orleans Saints, they could do it today if they wanted to. They could let Brandon Browner go, but we already know he's gone because Brandon Browner has told the world that he's gone via social media, and he did that this past weekend. Saints can make that move today, but they will make the move. That's obvious, and move on from a guy that ranked dead last as a cornerback in the league, according to Pro Football Focus, and incurred the most penalties in NFL history in a single season with 24.
I'm not surprised that they're making the move, but now, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen after the league year starts on March 9th? That's what you got to kind of figure out in this. You're looking at about a $950,000 cap savings. This is still a team over the cap. It's going to mean more dead money next year, as we talked about on Friday. And all that said, this is all about cutting your losses and realizing you made a mistake here. And let's get on with making this defense better in 2016.
I commend them for cutting the cord on the mistakes that they made. The problem is you just can't make too many of these mistakes, and they've made quite a few in recent years.
They really have. And whether you want to call it, having to take chances on some guys, or you want to call it poor evaluation, or whatever it is, you don't see as many of those things. Maybe C.J. Spiller excluded, and that could be a health issue. You really see a lot of these things on defense, and that's concerning because, as we saw on Sunday, defense is what wins championships.
High school sports state wrestling championships coming up this weekend in Bossier City. We'll be there with full coverage for SportsNoah.com. Brother Martin, a prohibitive favorite to make it 5 in a row in Division I. In Division II, Archbishop Rummel has a real shot as they venture into that division for the first time. So, again, you can follow full coverage at SportsNoah.com. And we have a couple of great showcase games for you coming up this week on the website on SportsNoah.com that you'll want to check out. In the sport of basketball, girls and boys.
Right, girls on Thursday, it's a matinee. Stuck at work on Thursday, it will be Mount Carmel and Ursuline, and then on Saturday, it'll be St. Aug and Brother Martin. On the boys' side, I'll have the call on Thursday from Uptown, and Jude Young will have the call on Saturday as we head into Gentilly for that rivalry. St. Aug looking to put a wrap on a Catholic League title. The regular season winding down. The girls will finish up this week. The boys get another week on their schedule. In fact, when we sit here next Monday, we'll be talking about girls' brackets as well. It's that time of year, already in soccer and, of course, wrestling. You mentioned the postseason, and then basketball postseason getting started next week.
It's going to be fun. We look forward to it as always. Perhaps sports, a staple of what we do at SportsNoah.com. Lenny, as always, thank you. Happy Mardi Gras to you. Stay safe. Enjoy yourself. Have a great week.
You do the same, and we'll see you later this week.
That's our first NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNoah.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. You're you. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you later in the week. God bless you.